Welcome back to Late Entry, your favorite or soon-to-be favorite place for the hottest sports news, the wildest viral topics, and conversations guaranteed to make you laugh. Tonight we got Gustav Eiffel.
What's going on, chat?
He's listed as Late Entry, but we got our man Double Dose out here going mobile again.
What's up, man? Fuck traffic. I'm out here stuck, so I had to pull off in a parking lot. We're running it from here. We getting the episodes out, though. Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to get it to you one way or another. Rain, sleet, snow, traffic, don't matter. Tonight we're going to talk about a few good things. We got our retirees we want to see for you guys. We got a Barstool deal closing in. And then we also have some moves in the NBA to talk about, followed by All Due Disrespect and Funny Posts. So we're going to start off with this juicy Barstool news. I guess they're closing in on a deal with FS1, which would put Dave Portnoy on Big Noon Kickoff every Saturday, and would also put some Barstool content on FS1. Now, personally, I see enough of Dave Portnoy. I have seen enough of Dave Portnoy. I'm good on, and I know I'm a Michigan fan and he's a Michigan fan, but he's like pretty insufferable about it. When, there's times that I'm kind of cheering with him because we both root for the same team, but I don't want to see him on Big Noon just rosy cheeked, 3 high noons deep by 11 o'clock. Like, I don't need to see that. So, I mean, whatever. If it happens, it happens. It's, I think he probably thinks he can get the same buzz that Pat got when he went on College Game Day to start. I think he's trying to do something like that probably. The other side of it, Barstool content on FS1, I don't think is a horrible thing. There's certain Barstool shows that I do enjoy listening to. I'm not like religious to any of them, but there's a couple of personalities and guys on there that I find funny. So some of those shows were brought to light. Some of those smaller but funnier shows were brought to light that I literally couldn't name. I could just tell you that this guy Nick is really funny. Yeah, that's the funniest. Roan is pretty funny. Francis. There's some guys like kind of making their own shows now that are pretty cool guys, pretty cool personalities that I like the direction that they're taking it in. So if those guys got spots on FS1, I wouldn't hate that. Good for the brand, but yeah, it's all in all, I guess, moot point to me. It's not gonna. I'll still watch it on YouTube anyways. Anything I'm gonna go watch, I'm not gonna be watching on cable for FS1. But I guess it's good for their exposure, How about you, Double Dose? What you got for thoughts?
Man, I agree with you on what you said about Portnoy being insufferable. That's exactly how I view him. Like, we've talked about this before. I feel like their brand of like content is not. I'm not the target audience for that. Most of it, I'm not a huge fan of. There's been some things, but for the most part, I'm usually good. But I don't want to see him on before fucking football games, giving his takes, saying his belligerent stuff. Like I like you said, I think that they're trying to get their version of Pat McAfee, but I don't think that Dave Portnoy holds a candle to a Pat McAfee.
No, not even
I'm so
close.
surprised at like you had mentioned the content from Barstool going to be on FS1. I'm surprised that after all they just cleared out of like getting rid of like Joy and Acho and Shady McCoy, all of them, that their next move is like, all right, you know what would fix this? Barstool. Like maybe this is their way of maybe this is their way of trying to like connect with younger audiences or something like that, but it's a no for me. I'm pretty disgusted to think about that. For me, like the height of FS1 was like Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, and then to a much lesser degree, then you've got like First Things First with Nick Wright and Broussard. Like I like that combination. Cowherd has his moments too, and then Toph and I both talked about last week, like the original Speak with Joy and Acho and Shady. That chemistry was really good. So from all of that, what I would consider the golden age of FS1, to then be now sitting here at internet personality at Barstool with their douchey frat boy fucking humor, I feel like we've fallen a great deal. Toph?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off what Adele said. I feel like FS1 is just scrambling. Really ever since Unc left, he's been on the rise. FS1 has just been downhill. Even before when, Unc was really holding it down, I know Skip Bayless brought him on, but, I personally stayed just for, their dynamic and Unc's, his charismatic attitude, his takes, his quotes, everything in there. So it's just bad that, they have to resort to, Dave Portnoy to kind of, salvage, anything they can. And if you're trying to compete with, ESPN's College Game Day, nobody can ever compete with them. That's like, TNT, when you got Shaq, Kenny, Ernie, if you can't compete with that, they got that on lockdown. I get it, especially if you're kind of scrambling for just, trying to get something out there, especially with, football right around the corner. You got to make a play. Fox does have games in there, so you got to have something. But I just feel like it's a desperation move, especially, just from an image standpoint. Just after the news we just had of Portnoy, like, do you really want, um, you know, a company just like that as big as Fox, you really want that attached to, like, your namesake and things like that. So I don't know. I think it's just a bad overall, but I think they're just in desperation mode, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, overall, I think their company seems to be. I mean, and they've made a lot of new avenues to kind of develop this small following again, kind of since Portnoy bought him back. But you can tell they're still scrambling.
Yeah, and you guys all brought up Patson. I forgot his podcast used to be owned by Barstool and Portnoy, and they had a split.
Mm-hmm.
He's as soon as he's branched off of him, he's done.
Bet on himself, and yep.
Exactly.
My favorite golf YouTube channel was recruited by Barstool. They said no, and now they're one of the bigger golf channels on YouTube on their own. Now they're actually funding a big golf event, like side by side with Barstool, which is kind of cool to be on that side. You're like, yeah, I didn't take a job from you. Now we're collabing. So good for Bob Does Sports. Shout out.
Got to know your own worth.
All right, that leads us into our next topic. Not really, but I guess we're going to go to our next topic. Retirees we want to see, one that you guys love out here, so we're bringing it back. I'll let Gustav go first on this one.
All right, man.
We're doing Chicago this week.
Okay.
Any athlete from Chicago that's retired, that just played there, could have been one season, could have been an Antonio Brown training camp with the Raiders. If you want that guy on your team, that team right now to help them win a championship, go ahead, Toph.
In his prime.
In his prime.
Yeah. I'm not going to take the obvious. There's a huge glaring one. I'm not going to take that one. I don't like to take the easy way out. I'm going to go on the football side. That's my favorite sport. There's a guy that used to be a fantasy legend. He had a couple of good years, really held it down. He's an all-around running back. I'm not going to go Walter, not going to go Gale. I'm going Matt Forte.
I was wondering if he was going to get picked. I was wondering if he was going to get picked.
A couple good fantasy years. I was like, I know where this is going.
Brandon Marshall, he was my next pick. If somebody would have sniped Matt Forte, I was going to go Brandon Marshall.
Matt Forte with why you say Matt Forte? Just because he's Matt Forte?
I mean, his skill set, in that kind of time, you could kind of argue he was like the best running back. He could run it, he could catch it. He had good vision. He could do everything. Mm-hmm. And you're going to pair him with Ben Johnson and that offensive mind. Just kind of like, what he could do with that player. Yeah, I thought that was an easy one. Give me Matt Forte, man.
Running back's a definite need for them. I mean,
yeah, especially with a young quarterback like Caleb. He needs it.
Agreed. How about you, Double Dose? What you got for us?
Okay. Excuse me. So also didn't want to take the obvious one. I also want football. This might be something a little out of the box, right? But think about how good the Bears would be if they consistently got the ball in good field position. Sometimes they scored without having to bring their offense on the field. Just knowing that no matter what, we got a way to try to move this ball down the field without having to even put Caleb out there. Bring me Devin Hester, dog. Bring me Devin Hester. Add him back, and let's just see how that goes crazy. Now, things might be a little bit different with this new dynamic kickoff situation, but even with that still, I think that he is an absolute weapon, and you just put him on that team and just see the value that he brings without, like I said, the offensive output without even having your offense on the field. Devin Hester.
And I
The
think
best to ever do
Ben
it.
Johnson's using him. Like he's probably not playing every down, but he's got like a wide receiver 3 role for sure, like a true wide receiver 3 in the modern day era.
Yeah, and he played some receiver as they knew they couldn't kick it to him anymore. So he definitely has some talent. You could give him a end around, a screen, anything.
And just let him work.
Just get the ball in,
Yeah,
get the ball in your playmakers' hands. Exactly. Those are some fantastic
I like
picks.
that
I
pick. I
love
was
it.
thinking Devin, but
So I thought maybe y'all would take mine. So I'm gonna just list my honorable mention. Shout out to my dad for teaching me who this man is because I wouldn't know otherwise. But the big hurt Frank Thomas from the Chicago White Sox. He started played there from like the early '90s till the mid 2000s, and he was just. I mean, they called him the big hurt for a reason. He'll hurt you on offense, and he was mostly, I think, a designated hitter, but he played some first base. The White Sox would not get to a World Series with him. One player ain't saving that team, but the gods above can't save that team. So we'll just put him at honorable mention. But my pick is Walter Payton. You mentioned him. I didn't really think about Matt Forte for the modern day era. Maybe he'd have a little more success. But on top of what you said is the shiftiness and the power of Forte. I mean, Walter Payton had that as well, arguably the best of his time as well. And with the moves that Ben and Ryan made in this offseason to go and build up that O-line, a good running back could go for 1,600 next year. On top of that, there's an award named after the guy for a reason. He was a great man on and off the field. That'd be a great locker room presence, a great culture fit for what I think Ben's trying to build. So even just beyond on the field, I think he'd be good for the team. And then you throw in their wide receiver core that they have right now. I mean, they'd become one of the more lethal offenses with a really, really good running back at this point. And they already might be even with just DeAndre Swift. So who knows? Time will tell on that. But yeah, none of us went with the low-hanging fruit here.
chat, please don't kill us for not taking
Yeah,
Michael
I mean,
Jordan
we all
or
know
Derrick
what the
Rose.
obvious
I
answer
thought one
could
of
be,
them was
right?
gonna get taken. I was expecting for none of them. Chat, please don't
If
kill
we
us.
had taken Jordan, this would not have been fun. Like we wanted to get y'all
Yeah.
something to be a little razzle
It
dazzle to
wouldn't.
it.
One of
You
us
could at least
definitely
put
should
him in
have.
the honorable
But
mention. We could at least did that. Come on, Kyle. I thought you was gonna at least give us that.
Let's just say
Derrick
nobody would have
Rose,
made a
Michael Jordan,
bigger.
honorable mention for me. I'm gonna
D
say
Rose was up there too. I thought about him, but you can't pick D if you're going.
D Rose is for the culture. He stopped crying.
Hey, there
He
you
put
go.
down the guns to go watch them play.
That's true.
Yo, D Rose in
And he
his
was dropping
prime
people
back
off.
too.
So
That'd be fire.
I know. If we could pick
nasty.
two, it would be those two easily. Just those two
Oh
basketball
yeah.
players. But I like how we're not even saying his name. It's Michael Jordan. Everybody, for anybody who's still guessing, anybody who lives under a rock.
Yeah, if you mention Chicago and Tyrese, they ought to know without even saying the name.
We still waiting on that video.
The old
Spence,
heads know.
about who's better between MJ or
Hey, look, that
LJ.
downtown debate
No, we're not
video,
doing
it is
this.
coming soon. It is coming soon. I'm still editing it. It's a lot to edit. It's an hour of footage I got to cut down into a nice little YouTube video, but it'll be worth it when it drops. I guarantee you that.
Oh, yeah.
We have police officers stopping the debate about Jordan
that's
versus
awesome.
LeBron. So
I love it.
it's going to be worth it.
Moving on, the Suns bought out Bradley Beal, and he goes and signs with the Clippers, which borderline makes the Clippers offense or the Clippers starting five illegal. We got Bradley Beal, Zubac, Kawhi Leonard, Harden, and Collins all in the starting five for the Clippers next season. The Suns, at least they got rid of one of their shooting guards because they had way too many in there. Gustav, what do you think about this?
I don't know how the Clippers always have all this money just out of nowhere. I feel like they're always signing somebody left and right. On paper, I do like it, except for they got three guys that either always injured or just fall off in the playoffs. It's always hard to just I got to give this respect for them for always trying to make moves, wheel and deal to try to put a competitive team out there. So always give them respect for that. But it's just hard to trust the Clippers, man. Every time they get in the playoffs, Kawhi's either hurt. You already know what Harden's going to do in the playoffs, so don't bank on him. It should be interesting though, nonetheless. I'm excited to see what John Collins does. He's became a lot more of an overall player. not just the athletic guy anymore. Throw it up to him. He's got a good shot on him now. You can always lob it up to him. I just don't know what to expect from the Clippers, man. It's always hard, especially in the West. They just got way more dangerous, just from a conference standpoint. But I'm excited to see what they do, though. But I don't think it definitely gets them over the hump, not at all. But I give them an A for their effort, though.
Always, little brother to the Lakers. Dose?
I think anytime that somebody says, look, we'll give you $97 million to not play for us anymore, that's somebody I'd be wary about signing onto my team. So, Toph kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, this is like team is a glass cannon. You've got a lot of injury concerns on there. You've got playoff chokers. Like, you might do something in the regular season, but we're going to see if you make it out of round one. If you're healthy going into round one, and then if you can even get over the hump of round one in the playoffs. So I think that we'll see. But I don't think that this gets them over any sort of hump at all. But I do want to shout out the Clippers for always trying new things. They know that they want to be better than they are, and they're consistently trying to figure out a new way to work something to get them to that spot. So their front office, congratulations for making moves. But we'll see you come playoffs sitting right on the couch next to us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are probably right. I mean, we'll see. Playoff Kawhi could show up 2 years in a row if we rub our crystal ball the right way. So that moves us on to All Due Disrespect, right? All right. Does either one of you guys really want to start us off, or should I let it rip?
You can let it rip.
I can go first.
Oh, all right. Double dose. Take it away.
All right, look. This might be a little spicy here, but my all due disrespect is every single person in the government that has any kind of correlation to these Epstein files. This has been going on for so long. Everybody's consistently pointing fingers. No, you were on him. No, you were on him. No, you were on him. And everyone's like, well, let's release him. And they're like, well, you release him. Well, you release him. And then now we've reached the point where it's like bipartisan, no matter what side of the equation you are. If you have a brain working up here, I think everybody's like, all right, well, let's just stop bickering about it and let's release him. And then now I don't want to say our boy, the man in the office currently recently just came out and said that the whole thing was a hoax. And the Epstein files were written by Obama, by Hillary Clinton, by Bill Clinton, and Biden. That they wrote the Epstein files. I'm like, bro, your whole campaign was on the fact that the Democrats were on them, and that you were going to reveal them. Now all of a sudden you get the chance to do that, and it's all made up. I don't think that my heart of hearts, I believe there's probably people on both sides of the aisle that are on this list. But I just think it's ridiculous of how we are still on this, like 10 years later, talking about this. We still haven't seen anything. And now the government is trying to lie to us and say, this never existed. Like, we remember you and you both saying this. And now y'all telling us it doesn't exist. We're not fucking stupid, dog. All due disrespect to everybody who's a part of that.
I heard that. Yeah. I mean, release the freaking list. It's insane to me. Like you said, it's probably on both sides, which is probably why there's this big old collusion to not get it out, and why they're trying to just totally back away from it. Yeah, man. No one's innocent out there.
I'm innocent.
I said up there, like.
I thought you said out there. I thought you said out there.
Sorry. Like, hey, whoa, hold up. I was not on those flights. I will be the first to say. Ain't pointing no finger. Yeah, the fact that the director of defense was he was just like, well, actually, we don't have any video. We don't have any, like, it was because there was all this talk and when everything went down that there was all this evidence, and now all of a sudden there's no evidence.
Thank you.
Like, it's ridiculous, man. It's just freaking.
The government released the videos of like Epstein's like prison cell, And they were like, yeah, see, there was no foul play. And then it comes out that they didn't know how to scrub the metadata. So it's like, literally, this video has been edited 4 times. I was like, wait, what? Like, y'all think that we're fucking stupid.
Right. Well, Trump's like, why are we still talking about this? Because there's no list. Because we still don't have answers. Like, why the hell wouldn't we still be talking about something?
And because your campaign was partially based off the
Literally.
fact that you were going to show it to us. So yeah, that's my all due disrespect.
There's no list. All right. Yeah, mine, back to sports a little bit. All due disrespect. Why are we still missing calls in the NFL? We got 3,000 cameras. We got New York on speed dial. And we're still sitting here on Monday mornings, pissed off, shaking our heads at a catch that was clearly a catch that got called out of bounds, or out of bounds that was clearly out of bounds that got called a touchdown. And it's just ridiculous to me that we don't take the time to like double, triple review everything. And I know it comes down to hearsay, but like the rules are pretty black and white at this point for what a catch is and what a catch isn't, for what a touchdown is, for what a touchdown isn't. But we're still missing calls. So if we took 15 to 20 more minutes of airtime to review, in my eyes, that's good for the NFL. Like, what, they're getting more ad revenue, and that means more money for them. So why wouldn't they review more, get the call right, and make their fan base happy? So my all due disrespect is to the NFL for being pussies and not just making the right call.
There's some people involved that want to still have that. Like Jerry Jones is talking about how like human frailty is good for the game because it allows there to be the controversy and that buzz gets the NFL being talked about. I mean, I don't agree with that. I agree with you. I think that
doesn't report somehow. Sorry.
I agree. I think that nothing makes the NFL look worse than a missed call. I think that it'll all get straightened out eventually because of the amount of sports betting. I think that the more prevalent that gets, the more pressure is going to be to make the right decision. Because if everyone in America is sitting at home and just lost parlay money, and the sports book knows that it was a bad call and the NFL doesn't call it, and people start asking for their money back, I think that the sports books are going to get in the NFL's ass about it.
That's fair. I can see that. How about you, Gustav? Let's see your all due disrespect.
I'm gonna take it back to the college game. It was a couple of weeks ago. Deion Sanders kind of talked about this during Big 12 Media Day. How NAL's gotten kind of crazy, and that's a wild west. And he thinks that they should adopt like a salary cap system, kind of like the NFL. And you know how we always kind of say that now college athletes are professionals because they're being paid like professionals. Now I love me some Deion Sanders. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, how can you have a salary cap, in college, football when you got like Western? Western's not gonna have the same, cap room as like Michigan would have. It's just not possible. Unfortunately, I love NIL personally. I think players should get paid. NCAA can make millions, maybe even billions off the players. I think it'd just be too hard to regulate, a cap room for the game of college football. I think it would just be too hard to regulate, what's the cap for every team. I think there's too much uncertainty with it in there. So I understand what he meant by it. I think it's just something unrealistic. That would be a long talk about that. Who knows when that would even happen. But I'm sorry, Deion, but I can't get it, down with the salary cap for college football.
It's interesting, Toph, because that's actually I've been in favor of that for sure. Like that's been one of the things because I think everyone knows that there's like it needs more regulations, but I feel like that's been like I think Dabo Swinney had mentioned that before a while back too, like revenue sharing from like the TV deals. So it's like if you and I know that maybe it might not be the same. I'm not sure. To me, it seems like working through that angle would be the best way for them to figure out how to do it. I don't know the specifics of that. I mean, any solution I've heard always has some kind of major downside to it, which is probably why the NCAA hasn't stepped in and fixed it by now. But I think that working on a solution through that framework, through the revenue sharing from the TV deals and stuff like that, I think that would probably be the way to go for that personally. Although you've pointed out some big issues with that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's just like I don't
Go
know
ahead.
like where you could find the number. Like I mean, just a couple of years ago, Western made it to the Cotton Bowl. You know, they had an amazing run, almost even won the game. So I get it in terms of fairness. You know, if you it'll just be hard. Like does every team have the same cap room? Is it by the conference? Because we all know a different conference makes whole lot more money. But if you're going to restrict like something like Western, they have a lot less cap room than something like Michigan. How could they compete? Bring in players. So like I said, I get where it could make it more fair, but at the same time, this is not a fair thing in general. Schools just don't have enough money to compete with the big schools. And
That's a
NCAA
fair
they don't
point.
want to get in at all. That's why they wanted to give it to Congress to let them do it, and say they don't want to pay players in the first place. So you can't trust them to get this job done.
Yeah, I hear that. I was thinking, I think there needs to be max contracts. I mean, I don't know if they have that necessarily, but like this whole Nico Iamaleava stuff, like there needs to be some sort of control on that. But I guess if you're going to do a max contract, then maybe you need to do a player cap as well, or a salary cap as well. Yeah, I could go either way. I'm like Toph said, I'm glad they're getting paid. I'm glad that it's not all about just getting to the league. I think overall it's a good thing. I think there are players that might take like that money and just be like, okay, well, and blow it that way. But I think I feel like we've seen a lot less turnover from high draft picks in the last like couple of years since NIL started than we were prior. So if anything, we're setting these kids up better to be more ready for what the NFL is going to bring, and to I mean, it's not cheap to even be in the NFL. Like, yeah, you got a contract, but like you're back of the first round or beginning of the second round, you've got a small contract, and I mean, it's tough. I mean, you're probably living in a hotel for the first couple of weeks. That's not cheap, and then you got to find a place to live, and it's a lot to invest into a city and all that. So I'm glad these guys are getting money before they officially make it to the league.
Absolutely.
That being said, quick side topic: the freaking the I guess 30 of 32 second rounders haven't signed yet.
I heard
Across
about
the
that.
whole NFL, because 2 of them got fully guaranteed contracts. So now everybody else is holding out. We'll see what happens there. I mean, we don't really have to dive into it, but that's just something to note. Like, the NFL is
Absolutely.
changing, sports are changing. These kids want what they're worth. Moving on to our final thing, we got some funny posts, right?
Yeah.
I actually do not have one, so this is all
None
on
for
you
Gustav
guys.
tonight. All right, Spence, you want to start us off?
Sure. I've got 2. One of them is relating the Clipper situation. It's from Twitter at HMFAIGN. Really like the Beal signing for the Clippers. Since Paul George left, they've been looking for a guy who can put his foot in his mouth and create Bleacher Report quote graphics we can all laugh at later. Now they got their man.
Jesus. Fucking
And
ruthless.
My second one, it is the third episode in a row I've got one from old Chase Passive Incomes at
Yeah.
Chase Down Leads. Was on a flight and someone clogged the toilet. Smelled horrible. The crew had to call in a tactical midair plumbing service that charged $57,000 per hour. Guess who owns the plumbing service? Guess who clogged the toilet?
Bro. That's
guy
don't
miss.
Job security right there. That's what
this guy is on a generational run of tweets.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's killing it. One of the funniest motherfuckers on Twitter or X right now.
Absolutely. Twitter, bro. Ain't nobody call that X. You the ops.
I know. I had to say both just to make you mad.
All due disrespect, anyone who calls it X.
X. All right. I got a video as usual.
Okay.
Let's see
Let's see how this goes.
Everyone needs to see this.
Oh, shit. Here we go, everybody.
Take a look at Johnny Furphy. Going behind the ball. Oh! He looks like Ant-Man over there. think we'll see Sports Internet out with that one. Oh, yeah. That's the worst poster I've seen in my life. Is that real? I'm sorry.
If you get put on a poster like that and that's your face, you damn near gotta retire, dog.
Oh, dude.
Like
And
you
that's
have
the
to,
summer
you
league.
have to have a spectacular moment happen in your career at some point for that to not be your legacy.
Facts. Yeah, I don't know the kid's name. I'm glad I didn't learn it because I'm not going to be the one to put him on blast.
I think it's like
but he
Furphy
did
or
himself
something.
bad.
I think the guy that dunked was like Furphy, something like that. But the guy who got dunked, I don't know who that guy is. I don't think we ever gonna
We
know
don't need to
again.
air him out like that.
Say goodbye.
And if you Google him, I'm sure the first thing that's going to pull up is that picture.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's
For
what
at
I'm
least
saying.
the
He's got to have a major career
That
moment
cameraman
to
got
erase
paid,
that.
man.
Yeah.
I don't know how he caught that exact moment perfectly.
These cameramen out here,
Give that man a raise, man.
They're out here like TMZ nowadays. These NBA cameramen catching you in the worst way.
Caught that boy an extra 4K OLED.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Late Entry. We got a quick one out there for you tonight. You guys all have a good rest of your week. Please don't forget to like, subscribe below. Look out for Spencer's dope video in Chicago. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Chat, we out.
Also, don't forget, next Wednesday, we are going live. Next Wednesday.
Live, baby. Fuck it.
Monday,
we'll do it live.
Monday, we will have the details for you on exactly how and where to catch us. But do not forget, Wednesday night, we're coming to you live.
Follow us on all socials, not just YouTube, not just Instagram, not just TikTok. Get across on all of them because you don't know where we're going to end up.
All of them are at Late Entry Podcast.